Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. On today's conversation, we're going to spend a lot of time discussing the recent scandal that is circulating from Maine. I'm talking about the U.S. Senate race between Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Graham Platner and Susan Collins. Graham Platner had been a controversial figure just in the political world since entering into this Senate race out in Maine. There were stories regarding his past of making insane comments on Reddit. There were it was comments about he made comments about black people that surface on Reddit, calling himself a communist, anti-police rhetoric that was also put on Reddit, other online activity that really raised eyebrows initially. In addition to that, there was a controversial tattoo that he had sported on his chest of a Nazi tattoo that was, and he said he didn't know about it, X, Y, and Z, and now has a tattoo over that tattoo. But he has apologized, very apologetic about it, X, Y, and Z. But that's not else. There were comments that he made. Post came from 2013 when Platner responded to a discussion about preventing sexual assault by writing. And long story short, I'll share that later on. But I bring all this stuff up because out of all the controversy that has surrounded this man, this one by far takes a cake. A woman that he recently had dated had said that he sexually assaulted her. Now, again, these are allegations, but folks are saying these are from credible sources, and I do have a soundbite of the lady who had made the allegation that I'll be playing for y'all a little later on. This is a big L for Maine. It is Platner's done. I'm just putting that out there. Platner is done, and one of the questions is, okay, does that bring down the momentum on the progressive left? Because we have seen a number of new voices, new faces, new challengers, progressive leaning challengers that have been unseating these incumbents, or at least in the Democratic primary, but also looking very competitive to unseat the current incumbent of the seat that they are running for. Graham Platner was a big star. I mean, again, he had all these, allegations and scandals thrown at him, and he was just dodging them left and right. He was still maintaining endorsements from key people like Congressman out of California, Ro Khanna, Senator, what was the gentleman's name? Ruben Galingo, and many others. But due to these allegations, man is done. That's all I'm going to say, is the man is done. But we'll talk more about it later on the show. Also, husband of Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, her husband, Paul Pelosi, was involved in a hit and run and faces some serious charges. We will talk about that later on. Also, on a local news story that made really national news, former mayor and former mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, as well as an ex-council member, pleads guilty in a corruption case. And it's just, once again, typical news that happens in the world of politics. It doesn't just happen on a federal level, it happens on a local level as well. So we're going to talk about that and many more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As always, thank you, folks, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into yet another great episode. This is episode 625. That's right, episode 625. As you know, we drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also tune into the program on the radio airwaves. We happen to be on a couple of radio affiliates, so I appreciate those who helped us continue to expand our audience. Shout out to KSHP 1400 AM and 107.1 FM out in Las Vegas, where you can tune into the show at 8 p.m. Pacific time, Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And also shout out to our family in New Orleans, WBOK 1230 AM. Also, Goatverse TV. You can check out past episodes of Goatverse TV by downloading the app. It's free. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. Multiple ways you can tune into the show. Also, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe. We truly appreciate it. If you can, subscribe to it, share with a friend, share with family. We have a goal to hit 5,000 subscribers. We are seeing growth with our channel each and every day, but we got to keep that momentum going if we want to really, build an impact. You know what I mean? And so, yes, if you have not done so, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have not, and give us a thumbs up. If you're watching this video right now, give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment below. We love the engagement. We love the activity. So please share your thoughts throughout this video. And yeah, I think that's kind of it with the whole intro. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. Hope you had a wonderful evening. I sure did. You know how much I've been complaining about the heat here in my neck of the woods out here in the Commonwealth, but we had a serious downpour earlier that was unexpected. I mean, I will say it left a little cold front. So I appreciate that. Well, not really cold front, but it was a cooling temperature. I'm gonna just say this morning we were at 90. I'm gonna say what, like 97-ish. And then we had it brought it down like in the 70s. So I truly appreciate that. And yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day. I will say what took up most of my day was just the news story that broke about Graham Platner. I'll tell you that right now. The news story about Graham Platner really shook up the news cycle. I'll be honest, I wasn't crazy about Graham Platner, nor was I a fan of him, nor did I think that would be a successful candidate to have so much support from the party. I really do not think that with the Democratic Party trying to rebuild, right, trying to move in a winning direction, but also a direction that most voters that would attract most voters to their side, right, especially those that might have been Republican for the most part and is tired of Trump, so now they're leaning more center. And I just didn't think he was, as strategy wise, I didn't think he was the right person. I'll just put it that way. But Maine really didn't have any good options because you had the current governor, Janet Mills, 78 years old. Do you really want to see her serve a 6-year term at 78? I mean, that's pushing it. We already see what happened when we elected a 78-year-old or 79-year-old for president. Now it wasn't pretty. So We're gonna talk a lot about this, y'all. We're gonna share a lot about this, and I'll give you my take on the overall outcome for Maine, for the Democratic Party. Where does this push them to? Does this push them back further, like, towards the bottom? This is just one loss. Is it really going to affect the overall momentum that they've been having? We're going to talk about it later on in the show. But before we head to a commercial break, I do want to shout out an individual. We haven't done Black Excellent Report in a while. So on today's Black Excellent Report, I want to shine a light on Dr. Myron L. Roll. Dr. Myron L. Roll. And for those who are saying, Arrington, who is this gentleman? So let me explain to you all who Myron, not Byron, but Myron Roll is. Dr. Myron L. Roll joins the NFLPA as a can't even say the word, strategic advisor. It was announced recently that the former NFL safety and Rhodes Scholar has joined the union in a strategic advisory roles focused on player health, brain cognition, and preventative care across the player life cycle. Now, Dr. Roll will contribute his clinical expertise and research leadership to several key areas of the NFLPA, including the Mackey White Health and Safety Committee, where he will help guide efforts to protect and enhance the well-being of players during and after their professional careers. He will also support research, education, and policy recommendations related to neurological health, cognitive performances, and long-term outcomes, and help strengthen mental and behavioral health initiatives for active and former players. Dr. Rowe's appointments reflect the NFLPA's continued commitment to elevate evidence-based on approach to brain health, mental and behavioral health, and long-term qualities of life for its members. A quote here from Dr. Rowe. He says, as a former player who now treats complex neurological conditions, Dr. Rowe, I'm sorry, this is a quote from the NFLPA medical director. As I continue, he says, Dr. Rowe brings a rare combination of lived experience, medical authority, and a deep commitment to service. He understands both the demands in the game and the science required to safeguard those who play it. His voice will strengthen our work and expand our capacity to advocate for players' health and safety. I just look at this as just a great step, a step in the right direction, because I don't know if you realize, y'all, but the average career length for an NFL player has dropped down to like a year and a half, maybe not even 2 years, and that's a fact. Actually, I have a few close friends that well, a number of them that have played professional careers in the NFL, and some, some in other leagues, but had for sure, a longevity career. Shout out to my boy Don Carey, who's no stranger to the show. He's a former NFL star turned politician, now doing great things in the community. He was blessed to have a 10-year career. I know folks that was blessed to have a 19-year career. Also, my good buddy Lenny Friedman, vice chair of the vice chair of the North Carolina Forward Party, 10 years in the NFL. So I know a number of men who can easily say how important this is, because y'all, we cannot continue to. The sport is amazing. Football is a great sport. I played it all throughout high school. Was there a thought process playing college? Yeah, maybe, but I just knew that being a college athlete, for one, was already going to be an obstacle, but also just you have to have that true passion. You have to have that true passion to compete, and for the sport of football. Football is not a game that you just, I'll be fine. No, it's serious. It's an intense intense sport. So providing all the proper research you need to help protecting these men's brain is key. So shout out to the NFL for bringing on Dr. Myron Rowland. Just shout out to him, a brother who is doing great stuff in the world of medicine. Again, we just salute you, boss. All right, folks. Well, look, we're going to head to a commercial break. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs, and we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
6'10", number one pick, 16 seasons, College Player of the Year, All-Rookie Standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolved. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated. And we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation. As always, thank you.
Let me tell y'all something. Whoo, I tell you. So, let me fix that. So, Graham Platner is yet again faced a huge allegation. So this is reported by Politico. You see that right there. Woman who dated Graham Platner says he sexually assaulted her. Okay, so this is just one of many now in real time. By the time you tune in, you'll probably see more things will come out after this recent news story, but this happened today. All right, today. Woman who dated Graham Platner says he sexually assaulted her. Now, I believe we have, but let me just kind of backtrack a little bit about Platner. So earlier in the show, I explained how he has been a consistent controversial figure since entering into this race. So he entered this race with the goal to unseat Susan Collins, who had been serving Maine as a U.S. Senator for many years. I believe well over 20. And, you know, she's not extreme MAGA. She's not a extreme reasonable Republican. She's a safe Republican. She's been that person where she's agreed with Trump to keep her own, keep her seat and her position safe. But there were moments where she also was against Trump as well. So that's why I'm saying I don't put her as a MAGA conservative, but she's just been, somebody who served the position for so long. And yet Maine has not seen any result from her and hasn't seen her really look out for her community the way that, most Mainers, as Graham Platner described, has seen. Now, for some odd reason, she's always saved her position and she's always continued to get reelected time and time again. But again, starting with this gentleman, Graham Platner. Graham Platner is a former vet, and I believe he was like a oyster farmer. He was a typical person who folks looked at, okay, he's relatable, right? He's a newcomer. He's saying what we want to hear. We can get by that, right? Because there's a new path of just challengers that are rising to the occasion and growing their platforms. Platner was more on the progressive side of the left, and he had grown this career like in an instant. I'm talking everybody was backing him. Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna. There's a number of elected officials. I'm looking at a list right here. Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand. In the beginning, Chuck Schumer was not, because again, Chuck Schumer is a part of the establishment. So a lot of these new, especially progressive leaning candidates, he can't stand by it. But see, the establishment left was trying so hard to put him aside and say, he's not the guy. I'm telling you, what are y'all doing? Why are you standing by him? Then you see folks like Janet Mills, who's the governor of Maine, Democrat, who says, well, I'm going to enter into this race. So she was more of like the established Democratic who said, okay, look, if you don't want to see him because he's a bit too extreme, then put me in there. I'm more moderate and I can it's a job for me. 78 years old, and saying, hey, look, I have what it takes to serve a 6-year term. I got this, because Susan is 73, and as I mentioned, Janet Mills, 78 years old. Both been in office for a long time. Both been in politics for a while. Graham Platner is a newcomer, right? Young guy. again, folks want to see relatable people serve in office. Folks that can say, okay, look, he can relate because we have the same occupation, or they can relate. He makes the same amount of money I do in X, Y, and Z. And so he was this rising star, but folks said, wait. Look at the track record. Look who this guy is or what he has done in the past. So there's a number of things. So it originally centered around old Reddit posts, along with other controversies from his personal past. So comments about sexual assault and intoxication. All right. The most widely criticized post came from 2013 when Platner responded to a discussion about preventing sexual assault by writing, how about people just take some responsibility for themselves and not get so effed up they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to. Men and women, if you don't want to be in a compromising situation, act like an adult. That's what he said. That is a report from the Maine Monitor. Okay, another one says, critics argued this amount to victim blaming. He later apologized, saying that the comments were made during a difficult period of his life while dealing with PTSD, and that they do not reflect his current beliefs. Now, y'all, forgive me for saying this, but I don't mean to downgrade post-traumatic stress disorder, but I feel like in general society uses certain things as a way to lighten a load. Like, oh, forgive me for saying that. That was just my anxiety. That was my PTSD, or that was my this and that. And look, I cannot relate to somebody that deals with PTSD. I know a ton of people that suffers with it. I'm in the Commonwealth. I'm literally in the heart of a military town. A number of my friends serve military, law enforcement. I have folks in my own family who has served. My own father served in the military. So trust and believe. I know how serious PTSD is. I personally have never heard of comments like that being being related to PTSD, like PTSD causing that person to really like I have not. Comments about black people. Another resurfaced Reddit comment asked why people don't tip, which many criticize. He asked why black people don't tip, why many criticize as prompting a racial stereotype. Platner has since apologized for a number of his past online remarks. Okay. Oh, and don't forget the Nazi tattoo. Yeah, which he had got covered. He said, "Oh, it was during this and any other." The crap looked damn near fresh. Okay, the tattoo looked like it almost was just planted on there. So again, give me a break. There was also a controversy when he called himself a communist. Again, online, anti-police rhetoric that he put on Reddit included harsh criticism of police and law enforcement, which also became the point of attack during his campaign. Other online activity, referring to himself as an anti-fascist super soldier. A deleted repost of a clip originally shared by white supremacist Stu Peters. Okay. I mentioned about the Nazi tattoo. Also, allegations from former partners, involving abuse behavior, and more recently, a sexual assault allegation. Now, let me go ahead and share I believe we have a soundbite of the woman who, who has accused Platner of sexual assault. So let me go ahead and play you that soundbite here.
he was heavily intoxicated, had intentions with me, and wasn't listening when I said no. And
you were saying, no, don't, over and over and over.
I remember, obviously I've had to recall a lot of this. This is something that I tried for many years to forget. And so small details, might get past me. But yes, I remember very specifically saying, I'm not into this. I remember that the most, sort of saying that the most firmly. I remember specifically him like grabbing at my chest, and I like hit his hand and I said, don't touch me. And I remember that during the altercation.
And then he kept going.
Yeah.
I know that you have been very reluctant to tell this story. Very reluctant.
Yeah. I'm
actually surprised you're here.
Thrown up 3 times today.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why did you ultimately decide to do it? Why come forward?
A few reasons. One of the biggest ones is that I think that there are a lot of men in this world relying on the silence of women.
I mean, just how disgusting. How disgusting. How disgusting. How disgusting. So that right there, my friends, was the accuser who had shared, and you heard it, she said, look, I threw up 3 times before getting on this doing this interview. That's trauma. That's trauma right there. And a while back, there were speculations about him. It was allegations that were kind of pushing towards what we're hearing now. And if you don't remember, I had played a video that was sent by Graham Platner's wife, who was basically saying, I'm sticking with him. We have our difficulties in X, Y, and Z. And it's very uncomfortable for me because I try to keep folks' personal issues, like their personal lives, especially couples' personal lives, private. I don't like sharing this information. But due to the circumstances, due to the fact that he's running for public office, U.S. Senate, I have to share, details about this, because we kind of, circulating back like, okay, where do we first leave off, or where do we hear something similar to this? And so you heard right there, and these are credible sources. So since then, and let me read you a little bit of this just in context. The woman, 41-year-old Maine resident, who I won't give off her name. You'll see that, it's public information, but I again wouldn't want to share her name. Detailed the alleged incident to Politico in 3 interviews over the past 3 weeks. Politico also spoke with a man she dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, and reviewed documents, including emails between the victim and her therapist, and messages between her and an acquaintance whom she warned against getting involved with Platner years before he ran for office. Now, she went on to say she had an on and off relationship with Platner, who is now the Democratic Senate nominee. For now, I say, I'm gonna say former. Okay, I'm already gonna say right now, I'm gonna say former. For more than 2 years before he entered her rural Maine home uninvited, while one night in late 2021, deeply intoxicated, and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him to stop. She said she cut off contact with him after telling him the encounter was not consensual. And you heard her comments. Platner has since denied the allegations. Now you heard the soundbite I played before this video where Platner shared a video on his platform saying, hey, all these allegations are false. I'm going to continue to fight for Mainers, X, Y, and Z, blase, blase. So he said in a statement, these allegations are troubling, serious, and false. Any accusations of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. That is his words. And again, this is ongoing. This is an ongoing investigation. So these are allegations. There are no factual evidence that he did this. But the way it's looking, he's not looking like is not looking good in his favor. I'll just say that. Victim described it as described reckless and unsettling behavior by Platner to the New York Times, but says she didn't go public with the specific assault claim because she didn't want to be known as a rape victim. Wow. To give you this is a lot. He's the Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran has linked some of his behavior to mental struggles and alcohol abuse, but he says he's changed and has denied previous claims that he was abusive to women. Since all of this had occurred, Platner has lost multiple endorsements, endorsements have folks have withdrawn their endorsements. So I mentioned earlier Ro Khanna, Congressman Ro Khanna withdrew his endorsements as allegations of sexual assault are red line. Ruben Gallego publicly rescinded his endorsement. Elizabeth Warren withdrew her endorsement and said the best path forward is for Platner to step aside. Kirsten Gillibrand joined Schumer in urging Platner to step aside in her role as chair of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. And then, of course, Chuck Schumer called on Platner to withdraw and said Senate Democrats would not support his campaign financially if he remains the nominee. Democratic organization, the Maine Democratic Party, officially called on Platner to withdraw as the party's nominee. Platner's Senatorial Campaign Committee announced it will not invest or provide financial support to Platner's campaign if he remains the nominee. And Citizens United rescinded its endorsement, calling the allegations profoundly disturbing and disqualifying. Progressive groups like Our Revolution and A Fight Worth Having. Other notable figures within the party, some prominent Democrats have not necessarily framed their statements as withdrawing an endorsement, but have publicly urged Platner to leave aside New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, as well as, Adam Schiff out of California. Yeah, out of California. Those that have stayed silent, still Bernie Sanders, one of Platner's earliest and highest profile endorsers, has not publicly withdrawn his endorsement or called for Platner to step aside, according to Axios. Now, again, so much stuff can happen after this program, so that could happen. But as of right now, my information I have right now, Bernie has not withdrawn his endorsement. I'm gonna tell you something else that was kind of controversial in my opinion. So Charles Blow, a journalist, political commentator, and I believe he's a columnist for the New York Times, bestselling author. I'm a huge fan of Charles Blow, by the way. I truly enjoy his commentary and hearing his insight, but this is one thing where I hear him, but I'm not gonna say I'm all in on that opinion. Let me go ahead and share this.
Charles?
Well, the first thing I always want to say in situations like this is that sounds horrible, and we deserve to hear her more of her case if she wants to pursue other actions. I think she should be encouraged to do that, and we should wait to hear more of her case. But the second thing I want to say is that we continue to have a situation where Democrats and Republicans are playing by completely separate rule books. The idea that this would push him out of the race, maybe that's the right thing to do. But, Donald Trump was found liable of sexually abusing a woman. And then 8 months later, a separate jury found him guilty of liable for defamation of her. And then 10 months after that, he was still elected. Christine Blasey Ford gave, I thought, compelling testimony against Brett Kavanaugh about what she said she was raped. He was still confirmed by Republicans in the Senate. We are just on two different ball fields when it comes to cases like this, situations like this, and politics.
So, do I think the timing of what Charles Blow said was right? No. Does he make valid points? Yes. Do I think it matters, especially in this case? No. And when I'm trying to see why would he bring it up? That's my main thing. Why say something like that? Because here's the valid points. I'm thinking about folks like Al Franken, right? I don't know if a lot of y'all might not remember who Al Franken is. Al Franken was a former writer for was it SNL? And he's a comedian, former U.S. senator out of Minnesota. Okay, worked for years as a comedian and screenwriter and actor. He served in the U.S. Senate for Minnesota from 2009 to 2018. Okay, there were allegations. There we go. Okay, so in 2018, he resigned after allegations of sexual assault were made against him. He has since said he regrets the decision because they were allegations. Okay, they were allegations. There was never evidence that those allegations were true. I think like a image resurfaced of him getting handsy with the lady, but I believe it was with her consent. I'm trying to see if I can find it's gonna be hard to long story short, there was never any evidence that was true. It was an allegation, but I'm saying all that to say the party, once they heard that allegations out, there is no time that, innocent until proven guilty. No, you're out. We don't like baggage. You got to go. What Charles Blow is saying, when you look at the record of the right, again, you have a man in the White House who's a 34 count convicted felon. He was found liable in I believe a sexual assault case against E. Jean Carroll. Okay, there have been other women in the past that made allegations towards him, and then that's just one person who serves as the president. Then he went on to say, hey, look, there's a gentleman in the Supreme Court who same situation. So what Blow is saying is that they still stuck by them, even if it turned out they didn't have any evidence and it was not true, or that stuff came out, but they still saw that folks wanted them because folks wanted to. Because you have a lot of candidates now where, especially elected officials, that says, look, they're trying to bring us down because they know we are the new face. They see the momentum. They see that we are not afraid to share our thoughts. So they're trying to take us out and silence us. And so they use it as a strategy. Well, Blow is saying, look, y'all, the left, we are just hurting right now. We cannot continue to fall in this position. But I'm gonna call BS for even bringing it up, because Platner has been a hothead since entering to the race. He was already controversial with a lot of baggage. I thought it was dumb for the party to stand behind him and pour millions and millions of dollars that was raised. Come on. If y'all trying to win, I don't get it. But, a lot of my liberal friends have said, Maine is different. Maine is interesting. But I look at this case, and then I look at, another big L for the left. But this time this was in effects to the governor's seat out in California, Eric Swalwell. Again, another story very similar. A rising star who was looking to be that, that potentially to be the next governor of California. He, because of those allegations, it ruined his chances to run for governor, ruined his chances during the governor's race and his political career, because he has been ousted as a congressman. So now you have folks like Graham Platner, who, is hurting the momentum of the progressive left, because what we're now seeing is so many newcomers that are winning these primaries and upsetting and unseating incumbents, and they're looking like the new face of the Democratic Party. A number of them are. I'm still waiting to see. I'm a little hesitant to say that, but again, I'm just going based on certain research that I've seen. So that being said, who's next? Who will be some replacements for who can replace Graham Platner now that his chances are over, right? Who would be replacement? Now they have now the current reporting indicates that the withdrawal candidates is July 13th. So just a few days away, with the party having until July 27th to select a replacement. So, I mean, you thought the presidential race was worse, and they had to do these quick shakeups, and now the candidate has 107 days to run. This person right here, this is going to be really tough for them. Really tough. So here's some potential names. I think here's two. Janet Mills, who had withdrawn from the race due to lack of finances. She didn't have enough finance to continue to stay in the race, but her name is still on the ballot. Janet Mills, who's a former governor, and she was initially the Democratic frontrunner before suspending her campaign. While she remains a recognizable statewide figure, there has been no indication that she intends to re-enter the race. Her campaign suspension and fundraising challenges early this year make a comeback uncertain. Then we have a gentleman by the name of Troy Jackson, okay, former president of the Maine Senate, ran for governor in 2026, has strong ties to organized labor in rural northern Maine. Access report, he is one of the leading names behind discussed privately among Democrats. So those are my top two. We will see how this goes on, but I tell you, it's just, I mean, I guess what I want to say is, I told you so. This crap doesn't shock me. It really doesn't shock me at all. Again, I'm all about strategy. If you are somebody with baggage prior to entering this race, you don't need to be the candidate. You don't need, because the first thing folks will say when you run for office, people are going to start trying to find all the dirt from your past. So you better be squeaky clean. You better be damn near squeaky clean, because if you have any trouble or any issues in your past, you gone, you out. They don't need, because they're trying to win. They're trying to set you up as like just that ideal candidate, perfect, taking pictures, kissing babies, hugging citizens, Mainers, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's just, you can't enter in with all this baggage. And I get it. Politics, the poll has been dropped so low ever since Trump has entered into the political space. You've seen controversial candidates win and become successful and this and the other. Like, I get it. But y'all, how low can you go? Like, you can't. The worst thing to do is look very desperate. And if Democrats was going to stand by Platner, especially after this, it was going to show extreme. Just you were going to look extremely desperate, in my opinion. Looking at my time, we got time for one more story, y'all. I've been holding on this one for a while. Still staying in the political space, but I want to discuss this story. That was, it was interesting. Not really like a major news story, but enough to at least have a good convo with y'all. You know what I mean? So former U.S. Senator out of West Virginia, Joe Manchin, Joe Manchin has shared some information to John Fetterman, current U.S. Senator out of Pennsylvania. And he gave him some advice that said, hey, look, this is the position you need to do, and do it now while you can, because it's just, it'll be too late if you don't. And so Joe Manchin, during his time in the Senate, he was kind of like, he was in like John Fetterman's position now, right? Being the ousted Democrat within the party, never really allowed to all the cookouts or all the parties and to the cool kids table. He was kind of an outsider, but still in the big tent of the Democratic Party. And Manchin, let's move all this stuff out of here. Manchin, I'll just take this out. Manchin has been on this new journey of being an independent, right? Shortly before he retired from the Senate, right? He didn't seek a re-election, so he retired. He's still staying involved in politics, but just not as an elected official. He left the Democratic Party and became a registered independent. And he urges Fetterman to see yourself free by becoming an independent. So Joe Manchin has been writing, multiple op-eds and books and joining organizations that are bipartisan. He's a big advocate of bipartisanship, and he's like, these two-party system are really what's hurting our country. This whole right and left issue is disgusting. We all need to find ways in the center. Still leans more left, obviously, but he has said no, he is not a fan of the party. So this is reported by the Washington Examiner, as he's recommending the senator from PA to follow his path and to leave the Democratic Party. It shows here, Manchin has shared, my observation and recommendation from observation would be, John, trust me, set yourself free and become an independent. Manchin, who left the party, the Democratic Party, in 2024 and opted not to seek re-election for a third term that same year, said if Fetterman wants to work with both sides of the aisle, becoming an independent would allow the Pennsylvania Democrat to speak as a real, true and free broker. Now, yes and no. So I kind of see Joe Manchin's point, because Fetterman, I believe, just completed maybe one full year as a senator, maybe 1 or 2 full years, because every U.S. senator serves a 6-year term. So I'm gonna just say, let's just say it's 2 years. If John Fetterman left the party now, could that give him plenty of room to still bring in trust of his constituents. So when you do see when a re-election does occur, he could run as an independent and possibly even win as an independent. Because I mean, look at Bernie Sanders. He's been independent for many years and as a U.S. Senate, and he's been probably like the only solo independent in the Senate, but he allies himself more with the Democrats. So if it's on the campaign trail or running for office, he's very left. He's more left leaning than right leaning. I'll say that. He then went on to say John Fetterman is voting what he believes is right for his people and what he can explain. I appreciate that and respect it. When you look like both people in both sides, you can't sit down with both sides. You can agree to disagree. You can try to find compromise and make things happen. Now, Fetterman, who once described himself as a progressive Democrat, can you imagine that, him describing himself as a progressive Democrat, renounced the label in 2023, saying he would just call myself a Democrat. Fetterman has broken from the party on several high-profile issues, including border security and his support for Israel and the war in Iran. He also criticized his fellow Democrats, accusing the party of catering to the fringe and agitating parts of our base. I will continue to talk a little more about this on the next show because I'm running out of time. But I think I'll leave you all with the question. Two questions I'm going to leave you all with. The first question is, who should Maine put up as their Democratic candidate replacing Graham Platner? Who would be a good candidate? Should Janet Mills come back? Should the former Maine governor come back, or should it be Troy Jackson? Who should it be? Should it be the former president of the Maine Senate, or should it be the former governor, Janet Mills? Troy Jackson, Janet Mills. So that's one question. Second question is, should Fetterman continue to stay as a member of the Democratic Party, or should he take advice from a former Senator Joe Manchin, former Democrat turned independent? Should he take his advice and just leave the party and become an independent? Be free. Be free. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment below. Or you can shoot me an email by visiting our website, www.theagshow.com. Okay, www.theagshow.com. You can also follow us on Instagram. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So as always, my friends, thank you so much for sticking with us here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Do me a favor, stay safe, stay informed, and I'll talk to y'all soon for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I think I'm gonna chillax. I'm gonna grab a drink because it's been a day. It has been a day. I'm gonna grab a drink now, and I will talk to y'all soon. So peace and blessings. Do your own research. Stay informed because there's big midterms happening across this United States. And if you have not early voted yet, be sure to do so. Peace and blessings.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.